Well, welcome back again, fourth grade. How are y'all doing this afternoon after this wild and crazy day here at school? As promised, I am creating a small YouTube video to help you guys with your fun work for tonight. Number one, 4 envelopes. Now again, Miss Floyd bought these smaller ones. I just like the size of them. You can have longer. You definitely don't want any bigger than this or any smaller. If your parents collect the envelopes out of junk mail and save them, you can certainly use those. Just make sure that you label them so you know what's inside. So far in our readings, we have done our chapter 2 notes. Y'all will remember this about the Central Plains and these facts. So you have one of these. I'm going to reattach each of these lessons when I post this video, so you don't have to go through your classroom to find them. You can just print from there. So the goal is to have 2 copies of each lesson, one to cut up for your envelope and one to save as your master. So we've done lesson 1 about the Central Plains. We've talked about the Great Plains, region 2. We talked about those. That's the second sheet. We just finished the notes on Friday on lesson 3, the mountains and the basins region. We're going to talk more about it, but these are the highlights that you will find if you go back into the textbook and you look it over. Now, why is this important? By the way, we haven't done lesson 4 yet. This is important because, number 1, this Friday you have a vocabulary test. I'll tell you about that. Know your vocabulary cards. You've had those for weeks now, because that's the first thing we made so you could be studying them. So you need to know those by definition. There you go. Know what they each mean so that you can use them properly in sentences or matching or whichever way that your vocabulary test comes to you, okay? Number 2, you have your chapter test. Your chapter test is on Wednesday, October 14th. What you want to remember is that it's about 4 regions and what's particular to each region. Where's mohair grown? Where do you find topaz? Where are you going to find the Guadalupe State Park? Where are you going to find the dinosaur state park? You know what I mean? So to help y'all do that, I've got all my originals stapled. And what I did for the Central Plains, notice you don't have to put the chapter I just did because I'll save these to use again. Lesson 1, Central Plains. And what Miss Floyd did, she went in and I cut up the notes into strips, right? And from those, I've got a strip that talks about the building materials that you find there. Remember, you're going to have things that you can build with, lumber and things in the Central Plains. Remember, there are the cross timbers in places. You have flat rolling land in the Central Plains. Dinosaur Valley State Park is there. Remember, we saw that great video on it. Fort Worth, we spent a lot of time on that. That's where the cattle trails ended. Remember, it was at the end of the Chisholm Trail. The other thing that's in there, the Central Plains are known for farming and ranch land, okay? And of course, I put in that this is lesson 1, Central Plains region. And what I want to do, I do that for each lesson. I take the notes, the second set, and I make little strips. Now when I go into lesson 2, I can study by single lesson, okay? That's the easiest. You've got to refresh your memories on those. Okay, and let me see, mine want to stick in there. Okay, it's going to happen. It's okay. Don't want to tear them up or mess them up. Get them out of here. So all the facts that I cut up, and one of them just has to hide in the corner. It's always one of those, isn't there? Come on out, come on out. And it's going to be the one, if I don't get it out, that I would miss on the test. So make sure you check your envelopes well. So, I mixed mine up, by the way. I'm glad I noticed that. I put lesson 4 into lesson 2. What did I put into lesson 4? Did I put lesson 2? Boy, howdy. Oh, yeah. Here we go. The Great Plains. Woo, I'm glad I reviewed with you guys. The Great Plains region, lesson 2. I made a strip. What do we know about the Great Plains region? Remember Lubbock? It's the hub of the plains. We know that Palo Duro Canyon is there. Again, I have not taken down anything from Google Classroom. You're more than welcome to go back and review videos if you don't remember these beautiful places. When you start getting out to the Great Plains, you also get out to Midland, Odessa. Remember that? Oil and gas. A lot of that is out there. You have high flat grasslands. High and flat grasslands, okay? That's what the terrain looks like, or the topography. That's where your mohair comes from. Remember the Angora goats. Texas is a huge producer of mohair. What is it, about 50% they say? And then, again, you get out into the Great Plains region, and you have farming and ranch land out there. And so those are your lesson 2. I'm glad I double checked, because something didn't seem right when I started reading, because it's like my hometown wasn't in the wherever I had put them at. So lesson 2 strips. And then today we did lesson 3 strips. Lesson 4 strips come after we do lesson 4. What I want you to do is you cut those strips up and you put them in your envelopes. And there's 2 ways to study. The simple way to study by lesson. Go in and say, you know what, I want to review what are in the mountains and the basins. Well, if it's mountains and basins, of course, you're going to have mountains, but you also have deserts out there, don't you? Absolutely. You have the Guadalupe Mountains in the mountain and the basin region. You have rocky soil, by the way, when you get out in that area. You're getting out in West Texas. Big Bend National Park is out there. You're way out there. There's not a lot of rolling grass or anything. It's very rocky, a lot of cactus. You have El Paso out there. Remember, El Paso is in a different time zone. So if you have somebody living there, you've got to call them at a different time. And of course, you have the McDonald Observatory. Very, very famous for their observatory and their, my mind went blank. What is the thing called? I'm calling it the wrong name, guys, but I'm not going to start over. Anyway, so you want to get that in. The observatory is out there with the telescopes and with the, the name eludes me because I'm just busy at the end of the day. So, all right. So I've got by lesson all of my facts. I want you to study them by lesson and know them. And then the challenge comes in. Take 2 lessons, pick 2, mix all their strips up, lay your cards out, and see if you can line up correctly what details go with lesson 1 and what go with lesson 2, or what go with the Central Plains, what things are in the Great Plains. And then when you get really good at studying lesson 3 and you think you know it, dump all of them together. Now, how are you going to grade it if you dump them in? That's why you have an original copy of your notes, okay? That way you can check them, or you can, your parents can help you with this. They can say, okay, get out your envelopes. Let's dump them all together. And I'm going to give you 15 minutes, and I'm going to be back and see how far you've gotten. You may need more time than that, but your parents can check up, see how far you've gotten, and say, wait a minute. Help you get on track, and then go back and finish the rest. And again, by the time it comes for the test by the 12th or 13th, you should be able to dump all of your little strips out from the envelopes, lay out your 4 envelopes, and then lay out each characteristic or feature from that region with the correct region. And if you can do that, ladies and gentlemen, you're well on your way to doing very well for your first chapter test, okay? So I hope that helps. Today was wild and crazy with testing, but I think y'all did a great job for getting to class, and that's how we're going to use our envelopes to study. Y'all have a great evening, and be ready for tomorrow, another crazy day. Bye now.